I have to share this with you because it just blew my mind, okay? I am outraged that a Russian media photographer was allowed into the Oval Office yesterday while the U.S. media was shut out. That photographer took pictures of the president meeting with the Russian foreign minister and the Russian ambassador to the U.S. Well, today, the White House says it did not believe the Russian government would post these photos. Russian state-run media put them on Twitter last night. The White House is furious, apparently. One official telling CNN, quote, "They tricked us," and, quote, "The problem with the Russians is that they lie." Well, this was my take on that Russian photo op last night at 11. Yeah, we got a big problem here. What's the problem, madam? How about the Constitution, the First Amendment, and press freedom? That's the problem. Do you think it's okay that a Russian media photographer was allowed to be in the Oval Office and a U.S. media photographer wasn't? Well, the Russian government ended up releasing the photos. Russian state-run media. Now, it's bad enough that there are times when the White House press corps is frozen out of presidential photo opportunities, and the only photos we see are from official White House photographers. Well, now we can't even see their pictures. The only way to see what our president is up to is to find out from tweets from the Russian government. So, Niall, what's your take on the fact that the U.S. media was barred from this Oval Office meeting?
It's clearly a bad situation. I think it's part of a broader picture where the White House has been, frankly, quite disdainful of the U.S. press. But on this occasion, it has sort of blown back in their face to some extent for exactly the reasons you outlined.
I would say to a large extent, because then today when they said that they felt tricked, okay, so unless they gave this Russian photographer explicit instructions to not post these photos, what did they think the guy was going to do in the Oval Office? Did they think he was going to knit the president a sweater? Of course he was going to take the pictures. Of course he was going to post them. Did the White House get tricked?
Their argument is that they believe the Russian photographer was part of the personal retinue of the Russian foreign minister. Of course, he was actually working for a state-owned news agency in Russia. The mere fact that they did get tricked or duped or were mistaken is in itself a problem because it reflects a certain level of, frankly, incompetence.
And lastly, I have seen senators talk about the potential security risk that this posed by having a Russian state media entity, a Russian citizen, in the Oval Office with all of this equipment. That can't be good.
No, I think that's right. It can't. I don't know the technicalities on that, but when you're in the midst of a controversy over a Russian investigation, these allegations of shady business, then having a Russian photographer from a state-owned news agency in the Oval Office is not really the look you want.
To put a period on that point, a former deputy CIA director, David Cohen, when asked if it was a good idea to let that Russian photographer into the Oval Office, he said, quote, "No, it was not." Niall Standage, we look forward to your column tomorrow. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Adam.
Okay, well, we're going to continue.